What's up, guys? The Lazy Goldmaker here. We're back in Classic. Well, not quite, but we're very soon going to be back in Classic with fresh servers. Just announced that Warcraft Direct should be coming out any second now. So today we're going to take a look at some of the gold-making strategies you can use both early game and sort of as we go over the lifetime of the game. And we're also going to take a little bit of a different approach depending on if you're on the casual end of the spectrum or if you're someone who's going to know life and level really, really quickly. Because if you do, then you're going to have access to some other methods and some other markets that just aren't realistic if you're not no life leveling. Because leveling takes a lot of time. And the higher level you get, the more raw gold you get from mobs. You get access to higher level zones. You can go to Fellwood and farm Plague Bloom, which is used in high level in some of the high level consumable recipes. Whereas if you are on the slower end, you won't have access to that, so you have to make do with focus on some other things to get your raw gold up early. Whereas if you're a higher level, you'll get more raw gold because you'll be killing higher level mobs. So first, if you are someone who has a lot of time to play the game and you're planning to do no life level, then you need to take advantage of the fact that you're going to be ahead of the leveling curve. So you're going to be ahead of the mass of players, massive casuals. Like myself, I'm definitely not going to know life. So that means you can farm high level materials with very little competition if you're fast to the higher level zones. You have a lot more gold to play around with because you've been doing you're killing higher level mobs. You just get more gold. Obviously, repair costs and mounts and stuff like that means more gold is going out as well, but if you spend some time farming, you'll have access to stuff that sells to vendor for a lot more and just higher level materials in general. So I think that if you want to be the richest you can long term, and you're playing a lot, then going gathering makes a lot of sense because you can just stockpile the materials. Just be farming, leveling up, farm all the materials you can, and keep most of it. Particularly the higher level stuff that's used in end game crafting. What you want to sell is stuff that's like lower mid level, wherever the mass of players are, kind of. So where they are buying materials to level their professions or whatever, that's what you want to sell, and the rest you want to just keep for a rainy day. Stuff like Plague Bloom, really, really good. There are obviously other items. Plague Bloom is just one example that's only available pretty much in Fellwood and is used in the best consumable in the game for the best class in the game, which is why it's pretty good. Now, if you're more on the casual end of the spectrum, then you'll be doing stuff like what I did in hardcore, taking advantage of low-level crafts. In particular, wands. You can't kill high-level stuff, right? So you need to get your gold up early without access to that, which means that stuff like shuffling, vendor shuffles, and just low-level crafting professions just to sell to other players items that are useful is sort of very good. So day one, enchanting for wands. Get enchanting, craft the wands, start selling them right away. You just need to be level 5, and you can get going. You can craft all of your dust yourself. You might be able to get your essences. I think I was just shuffling cloth into dust and essences and selling the dust, or maybe using it for something useful, and then you turn all of the essences into wands. You can also just look at the auction house for items to disenchant for the essences. Linen cloth you can also turn into bags and just vendor. That was nice profit or nice gold. Here on hardcore. This is my old hardcore character. I only went to level 20 before I stopped playing. So shuffling enchanting materials that people are going to need to level their professions, that's also really useful, and there are a lot of markets like that. I remember doing mage weave cloth into mage weave bandages and just vendoring them because they were selling for less than the cost of the bandages. So anything like that to increase your raw gold and get your gold up so you can have more gold to play around on the auction house with. And then on the auction house, you want to do material flipping in particular, which is just really good. Just take advantage of the fact that there's very significant fluctuations. I would focus on flipping like lower level materials in the beginning because that's where there's going to be a lot of supply and demand. So you're going to be able to take advantage of the shifts in supply and demand for those items. So early on. Enchanting materials, strange dust, soul dust. The low-level essences are good targets, as well as some low-level herbs can be good targets. Maybe more the mid-level ones like Mage Oil, Briarthorn. I think the Peace Bloom and Silver Leaf are usually just a little bit too easy to farm and too cheap. If you like farming, if you want to do the farming route, then you want to go a rogue, 1000%. The reason is this zone right here, Sophos. That's one of the reasons. You want to go mining herbalism if you're doing a gathering character. You should get both, and you should do it on a rogue, in my opinion, because rogues get access to all of the ooze-covered thorium veins down in the mines or in the caves, and you can eventually farm Bloodvine as well in Solgorub. Once Solgorub opens up, both of those are really good in Classic. As far as gathering goes, that's pretty good. You're getting a decent amount of arcane crystals if you spend a lot of time in Silithus, and you can get a lot of Bloodvine, which is really, really valuable early on in the Solgorub patch, essentially. For crafting professions, long term, the best two, well, I have them on this character. It's Engineering Alchemy. That's the best combination for Classic, for gold making. Alchemy, I think a lot of you will follow me. Like, obviously, it has access to a huge number of extremely overpowered consumables. That free action potions, extremely good. Limited invulnerability potions, extremely good. All of the stat boosting stuff like Elixir of the Mongoose, Arcane Elixirs, Elixir of, I don't remember what the strength one is. All of these extremely good. And engineering is good for the exact same reason. You have access to tons of really, really good consumables, and most people are engineering, so most people can use those consumables. And most people are probably a little bit lazy and don't want to buy them, or don't want to craft them themselves. If you're crafting sapper charges, you have to craft solid blasting powder out the wazoo, and then I think there's another unstable trigger that you also need to craft. It takes a long time. It's like two or three intermediate crafts just to craft a sapper charge. So yeah, you want to crank those out. I took advantage of utilizing a second account, and I leveled a character to 35 on my second account, literally just to craft sapper charges on my second monitor while I was playing. That was the main thing I used that character for. It was so good. Because they are so strong, and they're very time consuming to craft. Same logic for iron grenades, thorium grenades, a lot of engineering consumables that sell really well. The last thing you can do and should do is flipping materials in particular. Buy materials in whatever weird stack sizes you can find, post them back to the auction house in stacks of 10, stacks of 20, stacks of 5. I have a full TSM setup. I also have an old guide on this that we're going to link in the video description. Nothing has really changed. It's Classic. The same items are good. Player behavior is roughly going to be the same, because sort of material flipping has worked in every expansion I've ever played, as long as we have the old auction house where you can sell in specific stack sizes. As long as we're utilizing that, it's going to work. So grab that video. If you want a full ready-made set of Trade Skill Master settings to just grab, import, and get going, then we have those on my Patreon. So there's a link in the video description for that as well. If you're excited for Classic, let me know. Good luck.